Go.
This is NVHA 250001, our 461st interview overall. It is September the 24th, 2025, and we're in Foley, Alabama to have a little visit with old classmate friend of mine, Jack Healey.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to do this.
My pleasure.
And also thank the Beer Shack Tap Room for the facilities. This is a pretty cool place.
Yep.
Anyway, let's start off with the basics. What is your full name?
I was born Jackie Lynn Healey.
Okay. Jackie Lynn Healey?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Jackie or the Lynn, are those family names or what's the connection there?
Jackie was one of my dad's childhood friends,
Okay.
and Lynn was one of my aunt's middle names.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know why. Maybe it just rhymed. I don't know.
Good name. Good name. And what was your highest rank in the military?
Captain.
Captain. Well, Captain Healey,
Captain Healey.
where were you born?
Anderson.
Anderson,
Anderson, Indiana.
Now, were you born in St. John's Hospital?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Up on the front end where the kind of curves, that's...
Well, I know it's not. I
That's
know
where
it's
it was.
not. It's not St. John's anymore, is it?
No, it's St. Vincent's now.
St. Vincent's. Yeah.
Ascension.
Hard to... or is it Ascension?
Yeah.
Well, they changed it again.
Oh.
Can't keep track of
St.
it.
Vincent's now.
But the part where we were born is still there
Yeah.
as a memorial to
I haven't
great
been by
pirates.
it decades.
Yeah. Well, I take it your mother was there at the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell me a little something about her. What was her name?
My mother's name was Julia,
Julia?
and her maiden name was Brewer.
Okay.
She was born and raised in around that area, Knightstown, and
Okay.
that's not the city where she was born, but between Newcastle and Knightstown.
Yeah. What would you say about her? What was she, a quiet person, outgoing person?
Very, very quiet.
Very quiet.
Oh, very meek.
Ah.
Provider. I would say a giver. She did everything for everybody that she could, but Macy, that was kind of the wife thing back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Homemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Homemaker. And she mastered that very well. She had a rough life. She had a lot of health issues, but and died very young.
Oh my. Oh my.
55 when she died.
55. Where's she buried?
Middletown.
Middletown? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, her final years were all in Middletown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was in the military whenever she
Gary-
passed away.
Gary Hoover's mother's buried over in the Miller Cemetery.
Miller,
Yeah,
yep, that's
yeah.
the same one.
Yeah. So, what about your dad? What was his name?
My dad's name, Billy Joe Healey,
Okay.
and he was born and raised in Swifton, Arkansas.
Okay.
And late 40s, after he got out of the military service, all of the family from Arkansas was moving to Anderson for the industrial complex,
Sure.
General Motors, and good paying jobs. So he moved up, and then his parents, everybody followed suit.
Okay.
But
What was he like?
he was different. He was different. He didn't have that typical father role. He was very, I think, work driven, and I think he just had, I don't want to say demons. He died a Christian. He had regrets, which he accounted for
Sure.
towards the end of his life, but I think he just struggled throughout life with marriages, raising children, and I guess his knack was bringing home a paycheck.
Yeah.
And other than that, it was a struggle probably for everybody, just to cope with a family that wasn't probably stereotypical. He wasn't mean, not necessarily, but he had mean streaks. He had some a lot of Irish blood in him.
Oh, okay.
So the fuse was very short,
Yeah.
and we had to learn to cope with that.
Well, that wasn't terribly unnatural for those times. Dad went to work, Mom took care of the
Yeah.
house and the kids.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And he was married 3 times. I had 6 stepbrothers
oh my.
between his 2 marriages after my mother,
Okay.
and so it was always a blended family, and the women he married were very, very loving. You know, I didn't feel like a stepchild at all,
Oh, okay.
and they were very,
So blended well.
very good. Yes.
And with your step siblings, that worked out pretty well.
Pretty well, yeah. We stay probably in more contact with the steps, me personally,
Okay.
than I do my own siblings.
Okay.
And I
Well-
think maybe because they had a better upbringing than I did with my mom and dad,
Sure.
you know, before they divorced.
Yeah. Do you think that the subsequent marriages helped mellow your dad a little more?
Yeah, and time.
Yeah.
And I
time.
think, you know, just the longevity of being employed and, you know, establishing your lifestyle and getting your home financing in order and bill paying and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
He hit a groove. And then, you know, he had a heart attack. I wouldn't say triple bypass or something.
Oh my.
A near-death experience. And that's where he met the Lord, and that's basically really what transformed his life, maybe the last 20, 25 years of his life. And that was right before I graduated from high school. So,
Good timing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. How many? We hate the bad experiences, but how many of those bad experiences have that little thing on the outside that makes a breakthrough or something good comes from it?
yeah, I think, well, I did have some bad experiences. I quit school
Yeah.
in my junior year, I think, because me and my father got into an argument, and he kicked me out of the home, and I had to basically, I think I was out 2 weeks before somebody convinced me to come back, and the school was very gracious in letting me, you know, get back into the groove without taking a whole lot of zeros, but yeah, there's those rough spots are, you know, in hindsight, learning opportunities. And I don't, you know, you regret the conflict, I think, that caused it, but the outcome was for the greater good.
Yes.
And basically, it did set my mind on a different course to where I knew if I was going to have purpose in life, I was going to have to put in effort to be different and to be better. And so it kind of changed the course of my life. It didn't do much to mend my father's relationship. He signed me up for the military, and, you know, 2 days after I graduated, I was in Lackland Air Force Base. So, but I look at that as a good experience too. You know, he kept
Sure.
me out of Vietnam
Yeah.
by saying, I won't let you go to the Army. And I have no problems with any branch of the service and anybody wanting to serve. But
Yeah. Different situation.
there was a lot of cannon fodder, and I
There
was his firstborn child and his only natural son. So I think he had legacy in mind, not only for my own well-being, but for his prodigy, I guess.
Yeah. That battle, that leaving school early, was that a battle between you and your dad, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
He
So-
had let me have a car at 16,
okay.
and I would say I took advantage of the privilege and stayed out late
Yeah.
and was not accountable to his oversight of me. Rebellion.
Right.
And because there was 5 other siblings in the house, it was like, he's got to put his foot down,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't going to stand for it, you know. And it wasn't until later in life I found out that I was kind of the model child in terms of siblings looking up to me that I didn't know were, and looking to me for example.
Right.
And I didn't realize I was, but my dad didn't have the level of control that he felt he needed to manage the herd. Let me put it that way. And so he came down harder on me, and I kind of fought it.
Yeah.
I kind of fought it. You know, it's like you don't treat them like you're treating me, and I kind of felt like the black sheep instead of, you know, the shining example. But I struggled in school. Boy, did I struggle in school. I mean, it's like, you know, some kids, and Gary Hoover's one, it's like he just seemed to be dialed in.
Yeah.
And me, I was just pleased as could be just to get by. Mm-hmm. And I'd say I probably did graduate with maybe a B- average.
Yeah.
But I had no trouble telling some of my teachers, you know, just give me an F.
Wow.
And they did.
Yeah.
Oh man, they filled my first semester up with Fs and sent me down to the dean, and they put me in a different class, and you know, they were doing all they could to coddle me through high school.
Yeah.
And I picked and choose who I wanted to be engaged with in terms of teachers and the curriculum and interacting with classmates.
My teachers never obeyed me when I told them what to do.
Well, just tell them you want an F, you know.
Okay, so what, you said that changed your life. Was there any particular thing in that whole situation that made the change? I mean, a teacher or somebody who said something to you?
No, I think it was just the absence of. No, I'm not going to say that. Late in my junior year, I accepted the Lord, and I think it was that nurturing from my youth leaders, the youth group leaders, that convinced me that you have something to contribute. You don't have to be a rebel. And, you know, listen to that inner voice, Holy Spirit, Jesus, whatever. And all of the above, by the way, now that in later life I understand this. But I was still a teenager, and I was still rebelling against my father and the direction that, but of course I wasn't even living at home anymore. I got to see my siblings maybe only in passing at high school.
Okay.
But I think that inner voice that I got when I was saved was basically that, you know, you are worth something to the Lord, and you are serving the Lord whether you know it or not. It's your testimony that matters. And I really just clamored for that attention.
Oh, I wish every kid could learn that.
Yes.
That transformation, that is.
Yeah. And I mean,
really
it just made me want to be a better person and to figure out what my capabilities were and to push the boundaries of my capabilities to be more than I ever envisioned that I could be.
Right.
And I'm not saying I turned out great, but it's not everybody that gets to be, you know, a captain in the Air Force.
Sure.
I came in with no stripes and spent 11 years enlisted, and you know, had a family. But those were all growing up experiences, and when I say that, it's not superficial. I mean, life is hard, and you have to be willing to step over the trees that are down in the forest. You know, you don't get to go around, take the long route. Sometimes you have to jump in faith and do the right thing. And I can say I made my share of mistakes, but I always had my eye on a bigger prize, that I could be a better person than I would be if I listened to myself. And that's that's transformational. I think all of my kids kind of picked up on the story too. They may not, at this stage in their lives, think that it wasn't an outward manifestation. It's just, I wanted my testimony to be that you can do anything with your life.
Yeah.
And you don't need my guidance to do that, really. Believe in yourself.
We've often wondered, what is the real reason we're doing this? And sometimes I've thought to myself, somebody's going to hear a testimony like that, and they're going to say, that's what I'm missing. Somebody's going to hear one of these someday.
I
truly
think
believe that.
we probably all need to spend more time in introspection,
Yes, we do.
because that's where truth stands tallest. And we have to acknowledge our failures, but we don't have to own them. We put them away. I mean, we own them, but we don't let them define us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I talked about my grades in high school, and I'm going to say this, not because I'm being boastful, but I'm saying the redirection in my life made me realize that I'm not stupid. I'm unwilling to buckle, and I will rebel.
Yeah.
But when I decided I wanted a college education, I jumped in both feet. I got 1B in the undergraduate coursework that I took, and I got 1B in my graduate. And it was the very first class in both of them. Aced everything else.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, I'm no smarter afterwards. It's not the coursework that makes you smart. It's your application of life experiences, knowing right and wrong, and applying yourself. And I don't belittle the people that taught me coursework, but I mean, it was a certificate in growing up.
Yeah.
To be real honest. To become an Air Force officer, you need to have the discipline to tell people they've done something wrong or they're not applying themselves. That's leadership, you know. You've got to confront issues in order to succeed. And I think that's where whatever leadership ability I have has come from. It's that learning that it's already in you. Draw it out.
You think your dad gave you some of that leadership ability through his discipline? Maybe it was a little
I think so.
misguided at times.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you can't be a patsy or a pansy about this. It's like you've got to own yourself.
Right.
And you know, apply yourself and tell yourself what's right and wrong.
Right.
And obey what's right. I can make bad choices, and I do on a regular basis. 2025 has been disastrous for me in bad choices. But I can even say, you know, I was the shyest kid in high school. I don't remember if you know me, but I was very introverted.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
I kept my head down. You know, I wasn't worried about getting in trouble. I just didn't know how to socialize.
Yeah.
But I mean, through this coursework, through my salvation, through interaction with youth groups, it changed me. And I mean, I did my coursework in college. I became an Air Force officer. I retired. I did 10 years teaching in college, teaching history. And I love history. Oh my goodness, I love history. But I love teaching. And I said, for me to be interacting in a position where I never thought I would be, I mean, I just had all the confidence in the world that these kids needed to hear from me and to learn the way I learned. And it was like, tell yourself you need this. You don't know what Roman history is going to mean in your life. until you get older
Yeah.
and realized there's foundations of America here. There's foundations of patriotism here, discipline. I said, there's so much to learn in these different aspects of world history. But I said, you can apply this stuff personally. It's not just memorizing facts. It's getting the mindset that these dynasties were great because they applied the principles of greatness to their culture. And we own being the greatest nation in the world only because we've become the greatest nation in the world. And that's executing principles, which is what we have to do in our everyday life.
It's not a commodity to be used up.
Ah,
Yeah.
no, we can't. We can't keep burning the candle at both ends. We've got to have a generation that's responsible for the next one.
Talking about history, let's get some of your personal family history. Tell me about your siblings, their names, and a little something, what happened to them in life.
Closest one to me right now is my sister Nancy. She lives in Middletown. She's 72. She was born in 52, so
Yeah.
she's maybe 73 now, for all I know. But she's widowed, lives alone. I've got a brother, Billy, that lives in Anderson. He's a half brother, Billy Healey. He was born in 59. He lives in the Anderson vicinity. It's an outskirt. I want to say Fortville, but I'm not
Okay.
positive of that. It's a suburb, something of Indianapolis. But he's in poor health. I've got a sister, Misty, that's also poor health. Diabetes has been kind of a rampant thing in our family. Type 2 diabetes. And it's hit all of us, I think, in a different way. I've had a very mild case of it for maybe 40 years. And I've never had to take pills, never had to diet. And so it's just been there. And they've done the checks periodically, but I'm just so blessed to have such great health. And all my siblings, COPD, diabetes, heart issues. My dad had several clogged arteries and had bypasses multiple times.
Yeah.
And he died of cancer. My mother died of cancer, and she had her legs amputated from
Oh, jeez.
from diabetes.
Wow.
So she had it really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've really, I hate to say flown under the radar, but in truth be told, I've just been blessed.
Yeah.
And you never know why me and not them, or why them and not me. But that's just a part of living. I mean, you've got to cope with whatever hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you know how your parents met?
Only vaguely.
Yeah.
They never talked about it. Of course, they divorced when I was 9.
Okay.
But he was fresh out of the military, and his brother worked in the factory, and it was an introduction from his brother knowing somebody
Okay.
that got them together.
Now, where did he serve?
He was in the Army Air Corps, kind of post World War II,
Okay.
and he was stationed in Japan
Okay.
in MacArthur's
Yeah.
occupation force. And so when he came home from his enlistment, I think it was only 2.5 years or whatever, it was a very short enlistment, and he went back home, and everybody was migrating to Indiana, to Anderson.
Okay.
So that's where That's where his military experience came
So he
in.
kept MacArthur in line for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needed a lot of help.
Yeah, he was a firefighter and projectionist for the movie house.
Oh, no kidding.
The fire department said you don't weigh enough to man the hoses, and so he got worked out of that job into the air conditioning. I'm sure he didn't mind that at all.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I was going to say rough life.
we interviewed a guy who was a projectionist when Gone with the Wind came out.
Ooh.
He hated that movie.
Oh,
you know, 4 hours
all of
long.
these reels,
It was-
yes.
oh my gosh. He knew every word. Yeah. Did you know your grandparents on either side of the family?
My grandmother on my dad's side, I think I was maybe 2.5 years old whenever she passed away.
Okay.
So I don't have a vivid recollection of her except, through pictures where she's holding me. On my mother's side, they both lived into, I want to say, when I went to the military after graduation. So I knew them pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
And I actually lived with them for about 3 years
Okay.
after my parents divorced. And so they taught me farm life and animal husbandry and,
That didn't sound so bad.
No, it wasn't. It was a learning experience, and I can kind of identify a little bit with people who work on bigger farming affairs.
Yeah.
But he was just he had like a 10, 20 acre
Yeah.
place out of town, and he truck farmed and, raised sheep and hogs and cows and would send them to the butcher to stock his freezer. So
Yeah.
we learned that and, did all the gardening stuff and canning and so I got kind of the homestead experience from them and I loved it. At the time,
Yeah.
not so much, but I said in hindsight, that's Americana.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, not many people get that relatable experience to where, New World gets to meet Old World, but
yeah.
Old World was going away and I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, this has been a privilege for me. But I mean, they didn't have heat, they didn't have hot water.
Yeah.
We busted up coal, we cut trees, we stuffed potbelly stoves and heated water on the potbelly stoves to wash dishes or to fill the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is a reach back. TV was already out,
Yeah.
and we didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have a TV. It was almost feeling like, although I didn't live through it, but the 1930s and 1940s where you kind of sustained your own family. And he was very much that, my grandfather was very much in that mindset is, why would I want to go to the store if I can grow it in my own plots?
Sure.
And I know what's in it then,
Maybe why you're so healthy.
Well,
A good foundation.
yes.
Yeah, we found that with veterans who were born in the 19-teens, they are a cut above even the people who were born in the 20s. And I don't know what it was, but they look in the eye and they're sharper and just everything is just. I call them teenagers. But there must have been something in the way they grew up, the food they ate, the lifestyle they had.
Well, and it's in the news all the time, the preservatives that we've got and the packaged foods are, I'm not going to say killing us, but they're certainly, I think, adding a bit of poison into our diet.
Yeah.
Things that we don't know yet are going to harm us, but it's easier and cheaper to produce stuff,
Yeah.
And so
So you were born in Anderson. You lived in Anderson for a while, for 9 years or so, or
I would say, I was back and forth between Middletown and Anderson.
okay.
After I was born I think I was born in Anderson Hospital, but my parents lived in Middletown
Oh, okay.
at the time. You know, that was just the delivery hospital.
Okay.
So probably until I was 3 or 4, I lived in Middletown, and then we moved to Anderson and you know, rented a house.
Yeah.
And so I went through all of my grade schools and
Where did you live in Anderson?
all over.
Okay.
My goodness, Ruddle Avenue, 54th Street.
Wow.
I could probably name about 6 addresses.
Oh, so when this grew up in this house.
Oh,
and
no.
It's just
Nothing long term.
lay your hat.
I would think probably by the time I got to high school, my dad had actually become a homeowner. And so we stuck it out on 54th Street. I'm kind of missing it there, but I know it was back behind Kmart and
Okay, sure.
long time ago.
Oh yeah.
But that's probably, and then Clark Street. That was where they lived when I graduated,
Okay.
and they lived in that house for probably 6 or 7 years.
Huh.
And I was already in the military, but
Yeah.
I spent my junior and senior year in that home.
So where did you go to school? Elementary schools? You sound like you went to more than one.
Oh my gosh, yes. Remember Riley?
Oh yeah.
Riley, Columbia. Went to Park Place. And those are the 3 that I remember the most. But then I also went to grade school in Middletown. That school's been torn down. Of course, there's been a lot of schools torn down, I guess. And when you get to be 70 years old plus, it's like those old things are gone.
Yeah.
Just photographs now.
Where'd you wind up going to junior high school?
Junior high was Madison Heights
Junior high?
Junior High.
Okay.
And so I transitioned all the way through to Madison Heights.
Okay.
Good years.
Are there any teachers that kind of stand out to you?
Mostly it was the coaches.
Ah, okay.
I can't think of his name right now. Mr. Lamb.
Mr. Lamb, oh yeah.
And he was a driver's ed teacher too, but he wasn't my driver's ed teacher.
Yeah.
But mostly it was the coaches, I think, that stuck. And of course I had Mrs. French for French class. And she was a character on her own.
Mrs. Furness?
Well, I wanted to say Mrs. French.
There's a Margaret Furness. Always had those half glasses, and
Really?
yeah.
I don't.
Well,
I remember her, but I don't remember the class.
I had her for French, or maybe another French teacher.
Okay,
so
that might be true.
Yeah.
It might be Miss Furness then. But I know she's deceased now. Of course, most of them are. I think, is Coach Jones still around? I know from the Alumni Association that he stayed in touch with some of the athletes.
I think maybe he is.
Yeah, he's probably one of the last.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Nick, Mr. Horvey,
Yeah, yep.
all in.
The names come to mind. I don't like pulling out that yearbook. That's there's more bad experiences there than there are good. Let me put it that way.
I pulled it out just to see a name of who's that person?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're supposed to know everybody in your class.
Well, that's what somebody
in such a big
said,
class, you didn't.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they'll send me I don't remember who it is, but maybe Tom Lacey, maybe he's the one that kind of sends out a reminder that somebody passed away, and he'll do the obituary, and I'll say,
Who's that?
Yeah,
Who's that?
he went to school with us, I didn't know it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's faces that I would never know. I mean, I wouldn't know Gary Hoover's face, although I've seen him on, I've seen him on YouTube.
Oh, sure.
And, but I mean, we've got so many classmates that have died. I said, ooh.
We only had 50 up to our 50th anniversary, and after that, there's been a whole bunch of them that have died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were your good classes in school? The things you gravitated toward and excelled at, or
Always history.
history?
My sister was in my, I was a junior and she was a sophomore, and we ended up in the same class. And boy, did that make her mad. She would study her butt off, take notes like crazy.
Yeah.
And she was lucky to get a D out, C or a D. I don't remember her grades, but I said, you know, it's one of those things where I didn't have to take notes. I didn't have to read the chapters. I could just listen to the teacher. And I knew what was important. I knew what was going to be on the test. And when I saw it on the test, I remembered it in the class.
Sure.
And I said, man, those are the easiest A's I've ever had. And I said, I wish every class was like that, but history was absolutely one of those classes.
Oh, boy, I love history.
And
A lot of
Frank
those guys-
Donaldson will never admit to this, but he would ask me in Latin class,
Yeah.
can you help me with this? And conjugating verbs maybe was what it was.
Sure.
But you know, he was the athlete, and it's like, you know, I didn't cheat. It was just like I was able to kind of show him,
Yeah.
this is the conjugation of this verb.
Yeah.
And so, but those were two of the classes that really stood out the most. And of course, biology. I was a curious kid. I mean, and I still am. Nature is kind of a world all to itself. You don't have to put it in a book. Just take some field trips, you know.
Yeah.
And teach on the road, you know, kind of do that thing. But I really appreciated biology, and, you know, dissection not so much. But I said, you know, it's got its place,
Yes.
because it don't have to be critters that you're dissecting. Everything has a life cycle. So
Yeah.
get familiar with it. I mean, know the world you live in, and don't just use it up. You know, I'm not a conservationist, but I said, you know, you've got to appreciate nature and creation, and that's a part of your being, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. You know, you just didn't happen by accident. You were created. So
I'm fascinated by critters, especially, you know, just little insects and just. I think, how did you build that? It's
I'm
so
on
intricate.
YouTube absorbing that stuff like I'm a sponge. I just can't get enough of that. I said, you want some education, get it, because it's out there and it's free. I mean, just go to the right place.
That's just it.
But I said, you can grow your interest much better than we could as kids,
Yeah.
because everything was coming out of books. They weren't even putting it on TV until Disney came along and started showing us some nature.
You mentioned coaches. What kind of sports were you involved in?
Started out in cross country. I think my rebellious streak kind of put a nix on most of my sports. I did wrestling for a while. Track. I don't remember who the coach was, but
Was Jim Jones the track coach?
yes, varsity track coach he was.
Yeah.
But I think I torqued off some coaches because I was faster than most of the kids in some of the events. But I insisted on being equipment manager because I was just that rebellious that they couldn't keep me in my lane, so to speak. You know, I wouldn't show up to practices, and you know, it was just wasn't trustworthy. at that early stage. So
You kind of learned a lesson there too. What doesn't work?
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But I just had so many interests that weren't around sports.
Right.
You know, you wanted to be an athlete, but you wanted to socialize. You wanted a girlfriend. You wanted your car, and
Yeah.
I had to work and pay for gas and insurance. So my priorities were all over the place.
I get that.
But the sports program was fun, and that's where I think I got close to Mr. Lamb, because he knew I was struggling, and my weight class was very competitive. I think I was wrestling 132 or
Right.
128 or something like that, and there was a lot of good big boys that I was competing against, and so I was pretty much warming the bench, you know, because
Yeah.
I was third string or whatever in my weight class. So he knew I was kind of souring on being a bench warmer, and if he didn't interject me some way, I was going to walk off.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing that. He put me on a JV mat one time, and after that, I just let go of it.
Yeah.
I think that was me and my father had more to do with that than anything. He was not my fan, and I didn't have that encouragement, you know, the parental incentive, you know, to please my parent.
Did you have anybody in your life that kind of took up that slack? You know, an uncle, you know, neighbors, some guy who just took an interest in you, and
I think my playmates that were 3 or 4 years older than me.
yeah,
You know, when I got into Little League, I was a big kid and could hit the ball like crazy. And they would all come to the game and root for me and stand behind the, you know, the backstop. And they knew I was going to do something. And I was very good in Little League and Pony League, but couldn't transition to the high school baseball team. I think socialization got in my way, and and Tom Lacey was also playing my position, and Tom was a big lanky man. I mean, he is now. He always was as a kid.
yeah,
So he took first base, and I pretty much was relegated to the outfield. But in any case, I mean, I love baseball. That was probably my favorite sport.
I was never on any teams, but in phys ed, when it came to wrestling, I could get pinned faster than any guy out there. I was really good at that.
Hey, yeah, we need
You
need
know,
you on the team.
just
Yeah,
like
it's like
that. See, graduated high school and went to Lackland a month or two later. How
2 or
was it?
3 days after
2 or
graduation.
3 days. You
Yeah.
were gone.
Well, I enlisted the day Dwight Eisenhower died. I was
Oh, really?
I was in Indianapolis being sworn in.
Yeah.
It was an early enlistment program. So that was March. I don't remember the exact day, but close to the end of March,
Right.
he died, and that's we learned about it at our swearing-in ceremony. But I went and got the physical, everything in the morning, and then they swore us in the afternoon.
Great man.
But oh yeah, he was one of my idols.
Oh, you should hear the personal stories we have of people who encountered him.
Oh Lordy,
Oh my gosh, you'd love those.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, one big event that we both went through, I mean, President Kennedy, the assassination there. What do you remember about that?
I think I'm not going to say I was in the 4th grade. I might have been in the 6th grade. I don't remember. But I can remember the classroom. I was in Middletown, and I mean, and I don't even know, because I don't think we had TVs in schools back then. But somebody got the word over the radio or something and went around and and told everybody, and I mean, it was just instant devastation. I mean, it's like, that was back when Republican or Democrat, I mean, everybody kind of idolized JFK.
Right.
And it was devastation for a long time. I mean, I can remember we finally got a TV in my grandparents' house, and I was watching you know, the Khe-Sanh go through the streets of Washington, and that's probably one of the very first instances that I can remember watching TV. Was his funeral service.
I tell people that the world turned black and white for 4 days.
Yes.
Because we sat there and watched it.
Exactly.
We didn't know the rest of the world was going on.
Yep.
We were just so focused on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saul Oswald get shot. You just, oh my gosh. Just,
yeah.
Your mind couldn't keep up with it.
Yep. Well, it's odd that you say that, because you wanted to, I mean, that's when you really got dialed in. You wanted to know about that piece of history.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I would say Walter Cronkite was the same way. I mean, you had to be there in front of TV because he was telling you what was going on in the world, and you just knew that was gospel.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I don't want to say he was a saintly man, but I mean, in the field of journalism, he was gold standard. Trustworthy, yes.
You just,
and I mean, you don't say that about networks anymore.
no, you don't.
There's an agenda. Everybody's got an agenda, whether it's corporation or individuals. You learn to turn your head or turn your back because you know you just can't tolerate, you know, sitting through this propaganda.
Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of it's destroying the fiber and the character of America, because they are divisive, and you know, it is getting much more violent than we want to admit. People see that as a viable alternative now, and that just scares the bejesus out of me. I mean, it's like good people taken out just because they're good people. I mean, ideology can't be that strong. I hate to think that it's messed up minds that badly.
We can't defeat our opponents. Now we have to destroy them.
Yes. Yeah.
That's no.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. But I really believe that there's maybe like a Gen X group. They're starting to see that and think, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more conservatism within them, and more respect for life in general, and I'm seeing a swing back to the way we saw things.
Well, the Charlie Kirk thing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, when you said, you know, Gen X, Gen Z, I don't kind of
I don't know which one is which,
compartmentalize those things, but he touched a lot of people in a lot of different generations. I mean, he was truth personified, and I'm not saying he was perfect, but I'm saying, you know, when he said he wants some open dialogue, it doesn't mean it's going to be civil conversation in terms of I'm going to agree with you or you're going to agree with me, and I'm going to make you or you're going to make me. It's like, let's just hash out our differences. And
even if you take his Christianity out of it and just look him in the political sense, he sat and he listened.
Yes.
You didn't agree with him when you got done. He didn't agree with you when he got, but you listened to each other.
And if you look at those committee meetings in Washington, D.C., you can see the gear spinning in the opposition's head. They're not listening to what's being said. They've already queued up their response. I mean, you're not gonna change anybody's opinions up there.
But Charlie tried.
Yes.
And as that example, maybe people will start doing it a little bit.
I think objective people always knew that he had the right approach, and the kids responded to that. You know, what's wrong with open dialogue and listening to the other side and listening to them reason, because they know they're not getting that from their professors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're getting indoctrination, and I hate using that word.
My son got that in college.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can write anything you want as long as it agrees with me.
Well, I mean, even my grandson, I mean, he's a senior in a Catholic school, and I'm not interjecting that for any particular reason, except he's savvy enough to know that certain colleges have a liberal bent, some have a conservative bent, and some want to just be moderate.
Yeah.
You know, we want everybody to come, we want everybody to engage, and we're willing to have open debate and open dialogue. But there are some schools that are just going to shut it down, and I hate to say it, but some kids go for the grade and not for the learning. Yeah. And they will agree with anything to get those marks, whether it's Ivy League or whatever.
Yeah.
They want that big paying job, and I'm not trying to poo-poo any particular person, but we've become a hybrid society where people are easily swayed and easily bent to doing what it takes to get what you want, and the heck with right and wrong. And it's sad.
It is.
That we don't have that inner voice keeping us from doing bad things. And when I say us, I don't mean you, me, or anyone in particular. I'm just saying that conscience has been neutered. Sadly so.
Well, we probably got to get you off to Lackland before.
We're going back to Lackland?
Let's go to Lackland. You went to Lackland, and was it anything like what you'd expected going into it?
Oh boy, did they scare the daylights out of me. I ain't never seen mean people like my TIs. Ooh, Lordy. I mean, they knew how to get you to toe the line in a heartbeat. Yeah. And I don't know any Marines that could tell a story any differently. Yeah. I mean, when they put the fear of God in you, it's like, oh, I am towing the line. For 6 weeks, I just went out of this hole. Yeah. And boy, did I. I mean, I was a star athlete. My only recollection was when they taught us how to report to a senior officer. And I had to go, it was in 2-story World War II barracks. That was what basic training was in. And we had to march up the stairs, and he was in his office, and we had to knock. And he said, "I don't hear you." And that was the signal. Knock harder. And he said again, "I don't hear you." And that, I can't use the words. It upset me.
Yeah.
And I just put my hand through the sheetrock.
Oh, no.
And then he said, "Get your ass in here." And chewed me out. I mean, I still reported to him and saluted like he was an officer. And he was just a 3-striper. I mean, which is nothing in the Air Force. Yeah. But in any case, he was like a not Gomer Pyle, the deputy on Mayberry.
Yeah.
I'm drawing
Knotts.
a blank.
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts, yeah. But anyway, he was that physical specimen of a little, mousy kind of guy, but he still scared the crap out of me. And I'd already punched a hole in the wall. And I said, "Oh my God, he's going to set me back or something." 2 weeks. I said, 2 more weeks of this for doing. He just said, "Pound, I can't hear you." And of course, after that, I was the hero in the house, You gave him what he wanted. But that was probably my experience. I mean, I did love basic training. Looking back, it was wonderful.
So he didn't punish you
No, he didn't. I mean,
He probably realized that
he was
I'm the reason he
impressed.
punched a hole.
He was impressed because he knew the outgoing people in the flight, and I was certainly not one of those. I was one of those that was kind of backing off and
Yeah.
just do what you're told, keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and shine your shoes, keep your foot locker,
Yeah.
straight. And boy, I was a model. I was a model kid, but he just hit my nerve that day, and I became outgoing. And
That's funny.
but yeah, they sent me off to Shepherd Air Force Base after that.
Shepherd. Now, where is Shepherd?
Wichita Falls, up on the Oklahoma
Okay.
Panhandle area. And they sent me to computer system. It wasn't computer systems. It was teletype machines back then.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the school that they sent me to.
Huh.
And I enjoyed that. A little bit more laid back. You still had to buff floors with those big circular things, and
Yeah.
you had inspections every week, but nothing like basic training. And so I knew Air Force was going to be a good experience. After basic training, and I got a little bit of freedom, and could put civilian clothes on in the evening or on the weekends. I think
Yeah.
it was still just weekends back then. Still had to march everywhere you went, but that was just enough freedom that I felt like I wasn't in, a concentration camp like boot camp,
Oh, sure.
like basic training.
So your MOS would be like communications?
Yeah,
or-
Communications Center Specialist was what they called it,
Okay.
and it was a 29150. Isn't that crazy that you remember silly things like that?
Yeah.
And I mean, even when I enlisted, it was like they still gave me like an 8-digit service number.
Uh-huh.
That was on your dog tags.
Yeah.
And I used to remember that forever. But then they quit asking for it, and so I knew I didn't have to remember it anymore.
I remember the actual size settings on my process camera at Warner Press. I could tell it's like 3 digits on one dial and 3 on another.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, the trivia.
Crazy
Trivia,
stuff
you hang
sticks
on
with
to it.
Yeah, important stuff. You try to
Yeah,
ignore.
yeah.
So you were at Shepherd. How long?
Oh, I would say it was probably a 6 or 8 week course, maybe.
Okay.
I got out right at Thanksgiving. They gave me I think you had 10 days before you reported to your next duty station. So I got to go home and fly home from Wichita Falls to Indianapolis and spend Thanksgiving at home with my family.
Okay.
My parents, and I wasn't married yet.
Yeah.
That came a few years later, but
When you came home on that Thanksgiving, having gone through basic, you got the uniform and everything. Was it a different atmosphere because you had?
oh
gone
yeah,
through- yeah,
I mean, back then you had to travel in uniform.
yeah.
You had to travel in your Class A's,
Yeah.
and
But I mean,
course.
the home situation. Did you feel a different level of respect or anything? Or was it still the same?
I did in the church group, Sunday school teachers, the minister. I think within family, maybe because I had had to reconcile with my father after I went into the military, he had a different level of respect for me,
Yeah.
and our bond became a little bit closer. We still had conflicts, but basically I think he finally accepted me as a man then. And I hadn't accomplished much in adulthood except gone through basic and training.
Sure.
But I felt at least a level of responsibility that I'm executing as an adult now. Not accomplishing great things, but being responsible. When a lot of people that I did know were still living an irresponsible life. Trying to get out of being drafted.
Right.
Still being defiant, still living at home. And I just realized that basic training was a growing up experience for me. And I said that was probably one of the bigger blessings in my life that, you can say service has got some bad things about it, but I said for me, it was waking up and becoming responsible for my own actions, but also to be a team player. And that was a new concept for me. I mean, sports was kind of, but I mean, it's like sports, you still have that single opportunity to excel in your own right. Whereas in a military experience, if you've got a field objective, you've all got to work together or there's failure as a group and you're letting somebody down. And that hurt. I mean, that always hurts when you've let the team down or the team hasn't worked coalescing to accomplish the goal or the mission. So that military exposure to that concept was life-changing for me as well, even at 18 and 19 years old. There's a bigger picture. Yeah. This national defense is real stuff. We'll teach you how to use a gun. You may not have to, but you're here for America.
Yeah.
And of course, it was during Vietnam, and we were Air Force. But I said airfields are flying in Vietnam, and communications have to go that supports all of this. So I had a role that I accepted probably with more gusto than I should have, because later in life I'd say, "Oh, I was just a communications guy."
Yeah.
Well, those planes don't take off on their own.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to get the weather to them and all this other stuff that comes through the communication lines. So know that you're a part of the mission.
Yeah.
You're just not the pilot. You're not loading the ammo, but you're a team. And so I learned that in a humbling way, I think, through the course of my time in the Air Force, that everybody doesn't get to be in the headlines, but it takes everybody to create the headlines.
For every guy in combat, there's 10 in support. I've heard that statistic.
Yep.
And I'm running out of bullets in the jungle. There better be somebody back in the States who's pushing them my way.
Well, I can remember my time in Thailand, and this was, I want to say Mayaguez might have been intercepted by the North Koreans. And I was in Thailand, so I was in a communications center, but it was also a command post. And so I was talking to a general on the telephone about communications that was coming in, and he was wanting updated on where assets were, what we had in intel. And he was in Bangkok, and I was in Udorn, Thailand, which is the other end of the country. Yeah. And I don't know why he didn't have a communication center that he was, but evidently my intel shop was getting stuff faster.
Huh.
So I was communicating over landline intel that he didn't have any other way.
Huh.
And of course I was shocked that anybody of rank would be talking to a staff sergeant, an E5, and saying, "What's going on the battlefront?" And we didn't have video or anything. We just had messages that are being transmitted, and I'm feeding him what I can as fast as he can ask for it. And I said, after the fact, did that really just happen?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had AK-47s hanging up on the wall where, people from Laos had infiltrated, and security police had apprehended them, and we just kept this stuff just as a reminder that you're in a hot zone. It's just not as hot as Vietnam.
Yeah.
And but they wanted to get to our aircraft, in in these support bases, because these were F-4s that were flying over Laos and flying into Vietnam.
Right.
And they wanted to intercept and interdict, interrupt what our operations were. So I was startled in that one instance where I had senior officers that had the wherewithal to call a command post where nobody was staffing it except the teletype guys. And we were able to facilitate whatever he needed. I don't know what he did with that information. That's not my job, but at least I gave him something that was real time that I said, wow, that's the first time I really thought I had much purpose other than shuffling paper.
Yeah. That's good, Commander, to recognize that I have to use whatever means, and you're working. Let's go with
Yeah.
it. to adjust on the fly like
Yeah.
that.
But I mean, I had no business other than access. I think that, the intel shop was in one room and our communications teletype machines were in another room, and the phone rings in there, and of course they were in an 8 to 5 operation most of the time.
Yeah.
And the intel people weren't there, so I go in and answer the phone, and it's this, Brigadier General. And he just said, General somebody, and I said, okay, sure.
Yeah.
But then I got that it's, it's not like the MASH thing where you've got radar, and it wasn't quite
Sure.
like that, but radar had more respect for officers. I was scared. Oh Lord, I was scared. But it's like, don't screw this up. And
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't know if the guy would have said anything if I had. But I worked pretty darn hard to find out what it was he needed information on and which teletype machine to go to get to it, and it just so happened that there was a lot flying in real time.
Oh, yeah.
And I know the Mayaguez was probably, they were buzzing trying to get situation out to the rest of the world. Is somebody going to send in an interdiction to, get these North Koreans off of my ship?
Yeah.
And of course they didn't. They got hauled into a North Korean port, and they were held there for a good while. I don't remember.
Are you talking about?
I don't know if it was Mayaguez or
Pueblo.
Yeah.
Pueblo. You were in on feeding information on the Pueblo? Or?
Well, I'm not sure which one it was because I don't remember the time, but I remember both incidents.
Well, no, that would have been 68, though. That
One of them was 74.
That's the Mayaguez.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was wow. How was it like to be on that ship?
Well,
Who's going to help us?
well, true, but I mean, they went through a lot of destroying stuff.
Yeah.
And the other one, they didn't get that opportunity.
No.
That one just went so fast and so dirty. It was I don't know how they beat our intel.
Oh, yeah. That Pueblo incident is. You get on the inside of that and find out what happened. That was nothing I'd want to do. Wow.
Well, and I'm sure there's Pentagon reports nobody will ever read about all the
Oh, sure.
asking and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they classified that stuff. I had a very high clearance, and I said, man, later in life, I see all of these kids that are giving up information, and they had the very same security clearance, and they worked at NSA or in Maryland, and I said, oh, please don't compromise.
Yeah.
I said, why are you doing this? But I mean, it's like kids have just been raised to say the government's not always right, and what I'm doing, even though it's wrong, is right.
Mm-hmm.
It's my duty as an American to expose the federal government, and I said it.
Yeah.
But when you're 21, 22, you can't cipher all of that.
Yeah.
They think they've been brainwashed, and that's why they have to toe the line. And then they figure out, well, if I've been brainwashed, then I don't have to toe the line.
Yeah.
And I said, no. Do right by America, please. Please.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Every kid.
So, help me get the path here. You went to Lackland for boots, you went to Shepherd for advanced training, and then where did you go?
Then I went to Kelly Air Force Base. I went to Security Service. It was called Security Hill, and it was just right down the street from Lackland.
I used to know where all these air bases were. Kelly was.
Kelly is still where B-52s are based.
Okay.
And it's just down the street from, you know, Lackland, where the basic training is, and where the Wilford Hall Hospital used to be. The big Air Force hospital.
Oh yeah.
But I worked in a communication center up on the hill, which was a big relay station for teletype. And we probably had, I want to say, 70 teletype machines. We just walked up and down the rows and, you know, winding all these up and pitching them in bins. It was relaying from one station to the next.
Wow.
Old school stuff.
Oh yeah.
You had to read, holler at the code and all that stuff. You know, the holes in the machines, the tape and the cards.
Oh, yeah. I can do that.
Can you?
Yeah, we had.
Well, I mean, that's the way we used to have to program machines was with all this stuff. So, you know, ticker tapes and all that stuff. That was my early experience in communications.
Huh. You mean Chads?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, cleaning out those Chad bins. Ooh. God, you'd have it in your hair, you'd have it in your T-shirts. And that Texas heat, man, the stuff just sticks to you, you know, like confetti. It's just exactly like that. But gosh, that was fun. And I loved that. And after that assignment, that's when I got sent to Okinawa. And that was kind of a support base for Vietnam.
Okay. Yeah.
They had SR-71s there. And I worked in a command post there as well, communications facility that was right outside the command post. And of course we would know when all the 71s were going to launch. Yeah. And we'd step out the door and they'd just shoot down the runway, and as soon as they got to the end, straight up.
Wow. Yeah.
They were doing aerials over everything. I mean, everything. Russia, China, but of course Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. I mean, they wanted to know where all the assets were of the enemy, and so there was a lot of intel flying through the command post, and I really thought that was a neat job.
Ever wanted to fly a Blackbird?
Oh, no, but I got offered a ride at an F-16.
Did you now?
Yeah, later in my military time. My Sunday school teacher was a colonel and commander of a fighter wing.
Yeah.
And my wife was in the hospital in San Antonio, but I was stationed at Langley. And he said, "I'll fly you down there so you can spend a weekend with your wife, if you don't mind flying in an F-16." And I turned him down.
Ah.
You got 5.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, "I don't want to get you in trouble." He said, how can you get me in trouble? I'm the boss."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, you're not the base commander." And I was just a first lieutenant. So, you know, I was worried about my commission as well as his, you know. It was like, I can get there. And
So you're disappointed that you didn't do it?
oh, hindsight, yes, yes, yes. Because I see all these TV, you know, journalists getting these courtesy flights. I said, no, this ain't fair, you know. I was turning it down for the right reason, and now they're giving them away, you know. I mean, it all used to be classified. You couldn't get in an airplane.
Get close to them.
You couldn't.
Yeah.
And I said, man, public accountability. I mean, they just opened everything up to these people pretty much, you know. It's like, but I had fun. oh my gosh, did I have fun. But a lot of good assignments. A lot of good assignments. 4 years in Germany. Bitburg Air Base in Germany.
So
And,
from Okinawa, you went to,
oh gosh, Okinawa, I went back to Texas.
Texas. Holy smokes.
San Antonio, I went to Brooks Air Force Base. And someplace in there, I had transitioned from becoming, my AFSC stayed the same. It was still a 291 5070, something like that. But
3.
communications changed.
Are we done?
3.
3, okay.
Communications changed, and we started getting computers, and computers meant communication changed, and so we were doing a lot of building of programs to do munitions inventory online instead of, you know, the pencil stuff inventory, and so I became a computer programmer. And once I became a computer programmer, somebody convinced me that at Brooks Air Force Base, well, you should become an officer. You know, all you gotta do is get a college degree. So there I was. Somebody put me back in school, and the Air Force actually let me out to finish my bachelor's, my last 6 months.
Oh, really?
We got 2.
Wow.
And then they automatically sent me to officers training school at Lackland to become a computer operations officer.
Okay.
That's where I became a second lieutenant.
Did you like that kind of work?
I loved it, but when I became an officer, I lost my skill set because I managed people then, and not the grunt work, the stuff. I loved
Yeah.
programming. Oh, I did.
Yeah, give me the grunt work any
Yeah,
day.
and that was one of my downfalls as an officer, because I identified so much. I'd spent 20 years in communications, so I knew everybody's jobs.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, when I get down here, I'm an enlisted guy. I just happen to be the boss that tells your boss what's going on and how to do it.
Yeah.
But
Got 1.
but I have fun. Oh my gosh, I did have fun. Military, I would be in there today if they'd let me. I didn't want to retire. But they had an up or out program,
Ooh, yeah.
and I just said, well, hey, that's an opportunity for me. And I got out just as I turned 40 and got my master's degree.
Wow.
Became a presidential management intern. I want to say after Monica Lewinsky.
You went to OCS school, became a computer officer over that division, and where did you go from there?
I went from being a computer I didn't change my specialty, but I went from being in charge of programmers to being in charge of security systems
Oh, okay.
for base operations at Langley Air Force Base.
Langley, okay.
And we were kind of in the security office, making sure people had people that had top secret clearances and working in behind locked door areas had the passes to get, you know, the electronic passes to get into the workspaces, and to keep monitor on security alarms, to grant people clearance to certain areas. And so we did kind of the background work of who needs to go there and how many need to be in there, and how to keep control over what's in these separate environments, so that there was just need to know for the people that needed to know, and not
Right.
blanket. So we basically monitor all the alarms and had to be, you know, quick response, make sure the police, cordoned off the areas whenever alarms went off.
Yeah.
and make sure nothing got compromised. So it was an interesting job.
And you say you processed some of the SR-71.
Yes, that was one of my early programming jobs before I became an officer. I worked at Langley as an enlisted programmer,
Okay.
and then I came back years later as an officer,
Oh, all right.
as a programming officer, which is very rare because they don't like officers being where they've been enlisted.
Oh, really?
It's a lack of respect because they say,
okay.
"Oh, you're just a buck sergeant."
Yeah.
Familiarity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there were so many years in between that situation didn't occur.
Now, did you say you were in Thailand at one point?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's when whichever ship we're talking about here in
Oh, the
'74,
Mayaguez. Yeah.
because that was the end of the Vietnam era. I mean, the end of the Vietnam War, actually.
Yeah, it was.
But they extended my tour over there because it was supposed to be a 12-month tour, but I ended up like 15, and they said it's so close to the end, we can't rotate you out. And
Which air base in Thailand?
Udorn,
Okay. Udorn.
which was way up there, close to the Laotian border.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. You know, I was in the command post there, and well, it wasn't the command post; it was an intel shop, and they kind of monitored the movement of, I want to say, saboteurs and infiltrators, people trying to infiltrate the base, and basically they work closely with the security police and special forces to keep the base secure,
Yeah.
the assets secure, and
Were there times when they got through?
I would say they probably got to the perimeter, but were intercepted. I don't know of any instance while I was there that they got through.
Yeah.
At other bases up there, Utapao, I think, maybe had one infiltration, but it's so far back in my memory now.
Yeah.
I can just remember glimpses of life over there.
You mentioned traveling commercial airlines in your Class A's. That was not a popular time to be in the military in the
No.
country.
Oh, Lord, no.
Do you have any incidents, people calling you baby killer or anything like that? Or
No, well,
dirty
I mean,
looks?
I was pretty much isolated. I saw all of that on the news
Yeah.
as an Air Force guy and watching Stars and Stripes, you know, the overseas TV channel.
Yeah.
And then when I was home on leave, it's like guys got to the point where even though I've got to travel home in my fatigues, I'm getting out of these things because, you know, people. I think politically they just thought this is not America's war,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was so much that, you know, you're baby killers, but that you're following orders that you shouldn't be obeying.
Yeah.
Because we got no reason to be here. We don't need to be losing my nieces, nephews, brothers. And I would say, by and large, the only people that really rocked the boat were the ones that didn't get on the boat. They didn't get in the military. They went elsewhere
Yeah.
and rocked the boat there.
Yeah.
You know, or they'd be in one of these rallies, you know, throwing rocks at cops or, you know, civil protest, put it that way. And I don't know if I had any friends that were that way. Most of them just went to college, Ball State or someplace, and,
Yeah.
you know, beat the draft. And I don't find anything wrong with that either. Because some of those people graduated and became officers in the military. I mean, it's like, there was a point where, you know, Vietnam had some benefits with it. You know, you could get college paid for,
Yeah.
GI Bill, and there's a lot of poor families that got their college paid for that way. I'm one of them. GI Bill paid for my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, and I still had some left.
Look what came out of that.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
moly. Space race and all, those were exciting times to be a
Oh,
kid.
yeah. And of course, there's still a GI Bill, but it's, you know, you got to contribute now. You know, just serving isn't enough to pay the bill.
Yeah.
But I mean, gosh, college has gotten so expensive. I can remember when you could go to college for $3,000 or $4,000 a year. Now you can't even buy your books for $3,000 or $4,000.
Did you have a favorite base or situation when you were in the military?
Oh,
So I really loved it here. Or,
I hate putting this on film, but it's Bitburg Air Base in Germany.
oh yeah?
I didn't drink until I went to Germany. And I mean, they had wine, and I was stationed at Bitburg.
Yeah.
So Bitburger beer, the brewery, was like a mile from my house.
Yeah.
I smelled beer 24/7. And they had wine festivals. And I mean, you know, Germans just have that innate ability to drink at any time of the day, all night. I mean, it's just like, I don't know if they get drunk. You know, that was my mindset. There's something special in this stuff. But I found out otherwise, you know.
Oh yeah.
GIs don't, but I was an officer.
Yeah.
And I said, that was a tough line to toe. Because you want to fraternize, and when I say it, not in this sexual sense,
Right.
but I wanted to hang out with the kids that knew how to have fun.
Yeah.
And I knew officers had to steer clear of having fun, because that gets you on the blotter with the base commander, which means your unit commander gets called in and says, what's Captain Healey doing that he shouldn't be doing? And when my commander finds out through the base commander, all of a sudden I'm in deep doo-doo.
Yeah.
And boy, did I ever. Many times did I step in the doo-doo, because I was throwing parties I shouldn't have, and I was attending parties I shouldn't, and I wasn't. I think they just loved having an officer that didn't mind letting his hair down and being human,
Yeah.
and that was exactly the kind of officer I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I said, boy, I can get a lot more out of my people befriending them. And when I say befriending them, I'm not letting them take advantage of me, but I want to let them know that I'm human too.
Yeah.
And I might not have to work shift work like you guys do, but you're going to see me out here at 2 o'clock in the morning because I care, number one. But number two, I wanted their support, and I wanted their dedication, and I knew you've got to do some extraordinary things as a human being to get that kind of rapport with your people, and to know that they're not going to be the ones to let you down.
Oh.
And I was willing to risk all of that. And I don't think it was a big risk. I think it was just that basically the officer corps was kind of trained to be, I don't even want to use the word aloof, but you had to live in a plane above the fray. And there were certain people that people definitely identified with. The first sergeant had rapport with everybody. And the chief master sergeants, you know, the E8s, the E9s, you know, that's as high as you can go enlisted. I mean, if you got one of them for a friend, you got it made. So I wanted to be in that group. I really did. I wanted everybody to know. It's like you don't have to be standing at attention when I come in. You don't have to be worried about what you say to me. I mean, I want to know, are you being treated right? Are people listening to you? Do you feel like you matter? All of those things. And I said, that's when I know I'm getting payback for that enlisted slot. I'm getting service.
That was Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah.
That was General Marshall.
Yeah.
Some of these other generals, not so much. But
And they weren't respected in their chain of command because of that, to be real honest.
yeah.
Despised in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah.
You're weak, you're milquetoast. I mean, Patton didn't play that game. He didn't. And but he still had everybody worshiping him too, and rightfully so. He delivered.
When you were talking about that relationship with the fellows, I thought of Captain Waskow, Ernie Pyle's column that he wrote that he got the Pulitzer for. Captain Waskow was killed and laid by the wall, and all the guys
Okinawa.
that came and just the way they felt about him. This is the guy I would follow anywhere.
Yes.
And that's what you need. I mean, when guys have to follow, you better have somebody who wants to follow you.
Well, I mean, back in Vietnam, you don't hear this term anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had fragging.
Fragging, yeah.
I mean, if you weren't a good leader, hey, you weren't a leader very long.
Yeah.
But they didn't want you taking them out to the field to get killed. I mean, they wanted, you better be sharp and on your toes. Yep, I remember that. I remember some of the guys. I worked USO after I got out of the Air Force. And, you know, these kids were going to Iraq and Afghanistan. And man, I felt for them. I said, you know, you never know. Is this the last candy bar this guy's ever going to have in his pocket? Yeah. Is this the last time he's ever going to be able to play cards before he's put out on the line? Yeah. And it was gut-wrenching. I mean, my time in the Air Force, I really never had those close encounters where I knew this guy his heart is breaking because he doesn't know what tomorrow holds for him either. Yeah. But until I got into the USO, I thought, there's another opportunity for insight here. Mm-hmm. And I just loved that experience. Whew. Mm. Closest USO right now, I think, is in Pensacola, and that was just too far a drive for me to volunteer every day. Yeah. But then my wife got sick, and that's not even an option now. But I still hold the USO very dear to my heart. That it's, you know, it's that piece of home. People don't realize this, but I said the USO is a piece of home when you don't have it any other way. If your family can't accompany you, get your butt in the USO, not the bar, the USO. Yeah. And I shouldn't taint my Bitburg experience with alcohol. I mean, it was just an opportunity. Mm-hmm. But I mean, to see Europe, to see all these other countries, to go to castles, I mean, that's a tourist mecca. Mm-hmm. And even as a GI, if you can get out on the weekend, don't spend it on the base. Get out and mingle with the people. Try to speak German, I mean, they respect Americans more if you're willing to get involved in their culture. And that was a learning experience for me as an adult too. You know, the world's not made up of Americans or our values. And some of the German customs are better than ours. Yeah. I mean, they still have family bond there. I mean, it's not that they don't have divorce. But I'm telling you, they have a work ethic and a quality of life that we've let go of.
I noticed that cleaner communities, you know, they're very proud of their properties. And
I mean, there's a lot of protest, and there's anti-Semitism. I mean, it's all around the world, so you can't say anybody's got their act together, so to speak. I mean, they're all struggling with issues. cost of living and everything else. Immigration, it's like all of these things we think are unique to America.
Yeah.
Nope.
Your worst experience in the military or worst duty?
I would say the most shocking experience was I had to hire and fire the same person within 3 months.
Wow.
I had to get a new switchboard operator.
Yeah.
And I decided I needed to hire outside of the people that were qualified in the switchboard
Right.
because they would think it was favoritism. And so I hired somebody from the outside who had the qualifications, but she became overbearing and lazy. She wouldn't take her shifts, and that was kind of called for. I mean, there wasn't enough administrative duty for a 6-person switchboard staff to not have her as an operator too, and she just became very aloof, very overbearing, and I had a 90-day trial period that she had to go through before she got the job permanently, and so I had to turn in a termination before the 90-day period ended, and I had to counsel her and all this and say it's not going to work.
Yeah.
We've got too many issues, and there's been too many complaints, and so she filed an HR complaint that she was fired,
Yeah.
without cause, and so I had to go through the hearings and defend everything and make sure I had my documentation, and it all was, but it was just that experience as a young captain, my first, I want to say, leadership role, where I had, like 80 or 90 people under me. It was like this one civilian hire experience probably really took me down the dark alley to where I think, as complaining goes, the complainer generally gets more voice and more rights than the management team who's had to play by the rules and do everything right. Because, that was just my experience, that I can do everything right and still lose my commission over this. And that just scared the daylights out of me. I said, I've spent my life working on this commission, and to think that a little hiring incident would be my downfall.
Wow. I didn't mind firing people who weren't doing the job or just for some reason they were objectionable, but it killed me to have to get rid of somebody because of budget cuts. Oh my gosh, there were times when I just walked across the street and didn't look both ways. I was just so.
Well, that's what I hated about my
by it.
career. I was up for major, and another officer, lieutenant colonel, asked me, "Why are you even putting yourself up for the board? Because the board knows you've already got enough years in to retire." I had 11 enlisted and 11 as an officer. And they said, "We know you just want it for that gold leaf, so you can be a major." I dream of genie. I wanted to be Major Healey. And I said, "Isn't that stupid?" But I said, how often is that coincidence going to come around?
Oh, boy.
But in any case, I decided, yeah, you're right, because that was the up or out kind of thing, and they were having hiring. What do they call it? Hiring freezes? It wasn't hiring freezes, but it was basically
cutbacks.
there was a quota system, and because I was retirement eligible, I just said, hey, I got to do this. 40, and I can start over. I can have 2 careers, and I said I'll be just as happy.
Sure.
And I'll be darned if the Air Force didn't hire me back as a civilian.
Of course. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but Jeannie did not come with the rank.
Yeah, well,
Sorry. You talked about your wife. What's her name?
Barbara.
Barbara?
Yes, I've had two Barbaras in my life. The first one, after, in my enlistment career, my first wife's name was Barbara, and she had lupus. We thought it was rheumatoid arthritis,
Oh, boy.
just sore knees,
boy.
and she got lupus. And so they put her on steroids and a lot of other, stuff to put it in remission.
Yeah.
And lupus is very manageable now, but back then it wasn't. And so basically her organs started failing, and 12 years after we were married, she died from complications from lupus. She had been on dialysis for a number of years, and she had a stroke and
Oh, jeez.
pancreatitis. I mean, she had multiple things go wrong at the same time, and so she died in the hospital. But then after that, I had a rebound marriage. Classmate, name not to be disclosed,
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Hear that.
lasted just a short while because it was a rebound, and I just had too many things still sticking in my craw. Bad life experience with dealing with death and a young 9-year-old son, and knowing, just a commissioned officer, just made captain. A week before she died, I just put on my captain bars. And so that's when I asked to go to Germany. But in any case, my dad introduced me. I was in Germany. He introduced me to my current wife, who was working at Publix with him in Tampa, Florida.
Let's start off with Barbara one. What was her maiden name?
Brewer.
Brewer?
Same as my mother.
Okay.
Barbara Brewer.
And how'd you meet her?
Church.
Church? Good place to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my GI friends at Healey Air Force Base was taking us in his Mustang to church.
Yeah.
And
Well, that'll do it right there.
so, yeah. And she was still a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
And I proposed on the first date.
Wow. You for sure.
Well, and it scared the daylights out of her and her parents because she was still a sophomore.
Yeah.
But I said, we met in church. I said, I got all the information I need. And then they sent me off to Okinawa while we were engaged, and I had to fly back on Space A to get married. And, there wasn't a bad experience except lupus, which really played havoc with our lives. But
Did you say you had a child with her?
yeah, our son Samuel, she wasn't supposed to even be able to get pregnant because all of these steroids,
Yeah.
they thought had probably sterilized her. And but anyway, we had a son Samuel. He became a minister, but of course he died when she was she died when he was 9 years old. So he grew up without his birth mother, but stepmothers along the way, and he turned out well. I mean, he would say it was a rough upbringing, because he had 3 mothers through the stream of things.
Yeah.
But I think everybody learns in the course of life, they're not all good. It's not all good. There's bad that comes in. There's bumps in the road. There's hiccups, and there's trials. And so it's like, I would not want to classify any of my kids as better than the others, but there's favorites. There's just, some of them make things easier, or you're in a different place in life, and it just seems like smoother sailing.
Yeah.
But his relationship with me, at least in the growing up phases, was like my relationship with my father, very rocky.
Yeah.
And he was the oldest child, and I think he went through his phase of rebellion and wanting to be in charge.
Yeah.
And I had to struggle with that as a young officer, having somebody rebellious in my household. I was worried about my career and my place in the pecking order and not losing out. And but in any case, he turned out well. All of my kids turned out well. But my third wife, Barbara, is the one that's got Alzheimer's now.
And her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Dormany. And when we got married, she had a 16-year-old daughter, Carrie, who lives in Mobile now. And she's a nurse anesthetist, and she's actually our oldest child. She's a couple of years older than Sam. But right after Barb and I got married, and she and Carrie moved to Germany, Barb found out she was pregnant with what would be our child together. And that was kind of a wild experience because she was already in her 30s and Carrie was already 16 going on 17. And so wanting a baby was not probably the right thought. It was like convincing yourself you can do this again.
Yeah.
And it will be a good experience. I think we all had to kind of meet that decision along different paths, decision points.
Situation.
And of course, Carrie loves her sister dearly. I think we all bonded around this new baby, and it actually made us stay in Germany a little bit longer because she couldn't get her passport until she was a certain age, and I don't remember, 3 months old, maybe something like that.
Did you say how you met Barbara?
My dad introduced us.
Your dad, okay.
We actually wrote letters back and forth before I could come home and visit from Germany. But she was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And I don't have any reason to know why it worked out, whether Dad's influence was a factor.
Yeah.
I think it was two people hurting and complementing each other's needs, and wanting a close relationship. I think at our stage in life, being in our 30s. So she didn't get much Air Force experience, but she enjoyed what she got.
So how many children do you have?
3.
3? Okay.
One from my first marriage
Okay.
to Barbara, 1,
Sam.
and then Carrie from Barb's first marriage, and then Brittany with Barbara, 2.
Okay.
And Barb, too's had Alzheimer's for probably 7 years or so now. So it's been really a rough, and Alzheimer's is always a rough disease.
Insidious.
But it, everybody kind of gets dealt a different hand. Even though you're at the table with Alzheimer's, it's like no two cases seem to be identical. And her mother had Alzheimer's. And of course, you never die of Alzheimer's. You die from some secondary issue, whether it be sepsis or something, a heart issue or diabetes or something.
Does she know you now?
Oh, no. It's been 2 years, maybe 3.
Oh, my.
She's barely mobile with assistance. She still knows to move her feet, but she can't put her feet flat on the floor. She's on her tiptoes, and she only weighs like 90 pounds. So it's like a featherweight in terms of human body weight, but still it's bulky and cumbersome to navigate her to the bathroom and to the tub. But we have full-time caregivers, so she's able to stay at home, and they can still take her to eat at the table, and just a lot of sleeping involved at this stage of her disease. And,
Tell me about the healthy Barbara. What do you love about her? What was special about her?
she was rough on me. Whew. Kept me in line. I mean, tried to keep me in line. But I mean, we were going after it. I mean, she always worked. I mean, she was working at Publix when I met her, and even after we got out of the military and I went to work for civil service for Medicare, she would work at card shops and gift shops, and she kind of she had that play money in her purse all the time. So she was always taking care of kids and always on the go, and always engaged with people. She was very much a people person, and her co-workers mostly, but she kept the kids, I want to say, outfitted, and I would say putting money in their pocket that I didn't know was there. You know, keeping the kids happy.
Yeah.
But I worked 2 jobs mostly, for various reasons. But I mean, if somebody wants a Mustang, you get them a Mustang, and you know, you want a nice house, you get them a nice house, and it's like, I don't want to say we lived above our means, but we certainly lived within the confines of how much we could bring home.
Yeah.
We had a beautiful home in Maryland. I said, oh my gosh, if I could have only afforded to retire there. I love Maryland. But gosh, it was expensive. You know, $2,300 for a house mortgage payment, and there were some months I was paying $600 for utilities, and taxes are out the roof.
Yeah.
Alabama's just a completely different animal. I mean, my gosh, it's paradise in terms of cost of living down here. And I don't say that much for anything, but the quality of life is also very different. I mean, in Baltimore, it was a busy lifestyle. You stayed on the go, and you probably had to work much harder to have a family life in Baltimore than you do here. And I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, it's just that there's so much that draws your attention away from the family experience. And we didn't have a good church tie there. So that kind of kept us maybe out of a more regimented lifestyle in terms of church on Sunday or youth group or things like that. But any case, it's been pretty darn good. I mean, I've had a full career in many ways. You know, teaching, I would still be teaching, except they didn't need an adjunct professor down here. So,
Oh, boy.
but I had 10 years of it, and that was a good experience.
We're going to switch tapes.
Oh my gosh!
And then
I've got 4 minutes.
you got 4 minutes? 4 minutes? Okay. 4 minutes. Where did you teach?
I taught in Westminster, Maryland, at Carroll Community College,
Okay.
and I presume it's still named the same thing, but they had, and my master's degree was in adult education, with a minor in history.
Okay.
So it was a match made in heaven, maybe. I had some trepidation at teaching college students, even though I had taught classes in the Air Force. My last assignment was at Keesler Air Force Base, and I was teaching communications officers. So I already had, you know, some formal instructor and classroom time, but getting it at junior college level was probably an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
Those are some rebellious kids. I mean, straight out of high school, and they think they know it. And I said, man, as a freshman, nope, sorry, you don't.
Yeah.
But boy, they didn't want to study. They just wanted past. And I don't know if they brought that experience from high school or not, but I said, you got to work for it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to listen. And I said, I don't care if you take notes, but I made college fun. And I said, I didn't have that experience when I went to college. It wasn't fun.
Right.
It was a lot of work. But I said, you can have it both ways. I learned that in the Air Force. I said, you can still get the job done and have fun.
Yeah, the value comes from earning it, not just being given.
Yeah.
You taught for 10 years?
Yes.
10 years?
10 years junior college.
And did you teach anywhere else?
Well, yeah, I taught 3 years at Keesler Air Force Base.
Okay.
Communications Operations Officers course.
Okay.
And then I taught one before that. I got to think of where it was. It slips my mind now.
Yeah.
But I had 3 teaching stints.
Yeah.
And I would say I got the bug.
Yeah.
But I think it was just coincidence that that I had the opportunity to get a master's degree in the same thing I was doing when I left the Air Force.
Mm.
And basically, if I hadn't got the master's degree, I wouldn't have got the civil service job in Baltimore, because it was the Presidential Management Intern Program
Sure.
that got me from a temporary GS-12 to a permanent GS-9 in Baltimore. And I took a pay cut. Well, I didn't take a pay cut, but I took a grade cut, because civil service, you have to maintain, if you transfer from one job to the next, you keep the pay scale, even if you don't keep the pay grade.
Ah.
So I was making GS-12 as a GS-9 and 10, or GS-9, 11, and then 12.
That's not bad.
No, well, unfortunately in Baltimore, it takes that cost of living
Yeah.
to pay for things. But I was able to end my civil service at a GS-13, and I wanted more promotion, but I didn't feel like it was in the cards. It was another one of those, you can retire situations, you know. It's like, I'm almost eligible for Social Security.
Yeah.
And I have got enough civil service time in to retire. So it was like when I got close to where I could draw Social Security after I retire from civil service, then I knew I would have 3 paychecks coming in. And I said, this is a perfect time to retire.
Yeah.
So I retired at 63, right before turning 65. And
Not bad.
And so it's allowed me to live comfortably. You know, unfortunately, moving around, I bought and sold a lot of houses and didn't make money. But so I didn't have a lot of equity in anything.
Right.
But certainly it's not ever been about possessions anyway. But still, you don't want to. I guess you just don't want to think you've lived your whole life and you go out as a pauper. But I didn't. I didn't. I got the Air Force retirement, and that comes with a cost of living raise every year.
Yeah.
So the government's taken, well, you know, very good care of me for that. In that perspective, you know, my retirement pay is keeping up with cost of living to some degree. Same way with Social Security.
Your equity is in your life.
Yeah,
in your
oh,
living.
absolutely.
Look at all the wonderful things that have happened to you, all the terrific experiences.
Well, I've kept all the experiences. I've let go of all the money.
Money just holds you back.
Yeah, that's the only thing I got in the bank is experiences.
And yet that's probably worth more than
It is.
any amount of money.
It is, and I'll tell my kids that on the deathbed. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
live your life and put as much happiness into it and put as much memory into it, because that's what your kids are going to take away.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what you ought to be giving your kids, is memory and experiences. And I said, you know, there's wisdom in there, but I said, don't tell them, you don't preach to them. I said, you just show them.
Yeah.
You feed them
Yeah.
subtly, you know, what they need to know in life to be happy and successful, and they'll prosper. They'll prosper.
What's the story on the books?
I've always written. I've always written poetry most of my life, even before even before high school, I was writing poetry.
Oh.
And I've got a poetry book that I've written. And but this year, I decided I want to try a novel. And I love writing for children.
Yeah.
So I wrote a children's novel. And the title of it is Come Climb With Me, Trees Are My Friends. And it's kind of a personal life experience story, but it's written from an 8th grader's perspective, 7th and 8th grade. And it's my first novel, but I wrote it in first person, and it was just like I lived in the house, I lived in the street, I was going to school with these kids. It just came out of me so naturally. It was the most fun experience I've ever had. And I said, man, this is effortless. And I don't know, I mean, I've had maybe 24 people around here that's read it.
Yeah.
And they've enjoyed it. And they said, you know, this is not just for kids. You know, adults are going to love this too. There's a flavor of Christian ethos in it that, you know, the kids are very morally driven. You know, there's not sex, there's not petting, there's none of this stuff. And of course, 7th and 8th grade, we weren't there yet. I don't know about this generation today, but I might be writing about a generation that doesn't exist anymore. But I said, you know, the life experience is there for you to glean it out of this book. Telling the truth and having fun with friends and getting into arguments and disagreements. And I said, those are experiences I went through as a kid, and I said, it's so easy to convey it to paper. Why am I not doing this? And so I'm going through a second publisher now to get it on the streets. I think I went through a vanity publisher to begin with, and things went south, and they kind of held the final product. And so I've got the final cut, and I'm taking it to somebody else to put it on the streets for me.
Please let me know when you get that done.
Oh, I will.
I want to read that one because I know exactly what you're going through when when you're writing. I could hear some of my own stuff. We probably ought to wrap this up before supper time, but is there anything else about your life that you'd like to get documented here?
I just think that, you know, I'll be 75 in November, and I always thought of that as a milestone. My dad died when he was 75, pancreatic cancer. I've never had cancer on my radar. I don't know if I've got it in my body. I don't care if I got it in my body. I've just had such a happy life.
Yeah.
In spite of the issues, you know, having 2 wives that are probably going to predecease me, I don't know that for a fact either. But I said, you know, I'm grateful for every experience I've had in life, good, bad, or otherwise. And I would say everybody, you know, embrace what you've got while you're breathing and make the most of it. Turn every situation into a good situation, because everything in life is a lesson. And I said, you know, there are no bad lessons if you've learned from it. It's just a bad experience. And so that's where I've really wanted to, you know, to kind of lay my loincloth or cheesecloth or whatever it is out there, you know. It's like there are things to be gleaned from this. And that is, you know, you only got one chance to do it. So put your best into it. Please put your best into it, because you don't want to die with regrets. And you've got more to give than bad experiences. So, you know, pony up and put your best effort into this life. And I just say that because this late in life, I'm learning I've got second wind. And I still got a lot of fun to have.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hoping my grandkids pick up on that, you know. Old people are fun. And it's to be done. It's to be done, and it's to be had. Enjoy it and appreciate it while you're still alive too. Don't ever give up, and that's ringing out of my loins so much. I said, there's so much to try and do, and just get out there and, you know, blow the doors off, you know. Surprise your kids, surprise your grandkids, surprise your friends, you know. It's like we didn't know he had it in him, you know, whether it's humor or, you know, whatever. Stick to it and make something. And I said, I think these books are going to be something that, you know, I don't want them to be my legacy. I want my life to be my legacy. Yeah. But I said the books are a part of my life. So I want everybody to see that in me. Will I do a memoir? Maybe not. Maybe not. I'd love to, though. Yeah. You know, it's like this tape, you know. It's a starting place.
Sure.
For digging deeper, add more detail, add more background, and give something to somebody to laugh at.
Well, I love the fact that I didn't really get to know you in school. and you're a great guy. I just...
well, I've morphed into a great guy. I wasn't back then.
We all have morphed a great deal.
Yes,
well,
yes.
Normally we say we like to have our veterans say a few words for posterity, share a little personal philosophy. You've covered an awful lot of stuff here.
Well, I've tried to weave it in all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm not Solomon. I'm not Moses. I'm just average day Joe that I think they allowed us to get old so we could share something with the younger generation who may not get to be old. But I said, you don't have to be old to learn. I said, you should have been learning while you're young, and we all have that regret. But please learn more younger than I did, because it'll pay off in the end.
Yeah.
You'll be smarter sooner. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Major Major Healey.
Yeah.
You've had something better than a genie in your life. I want to thank you for this interview and for the time you've given us today. Thank you for your service, and thank the Beer Shack Tap Room for who probably has better beer than the Germans do, I'm sure.
Well, they have a lot of the German beer on tap. Well, thanks for doing this for me. I really think my kids are going to love it, and hopefully some wanderers will run onto it if you get it on YouTube as well.
There you go. God bless you, Jack. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
Appreciate it.